Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our cozy little corner of the internet. I'm Pen and today I'll be reading my own one-shot. Maybe I should start thinking like that too, written by me, of course. This was in celebration of Darzai's birthday, but I just haven't gotten around to the chance of reading it out. It's a little under 1800 words and people in AO3 seem to really like it, so I'm reading it here. Anyway, here's the summary. Darzai forgets his birthday and Rampo reveals it to everyone. In response, Kenji went to get ice cream with Darzai. Hope you guys enjoy. Just a little bit of hurt comfort in here. Let's go. Darzai groans awake as he hears his phone going off. Lifting his head slightly to see the contact, he sees Kunakita. Great, he thinks to himself as he answers the call. Why, hello, Kunakita. He answers in a much bubblier tone than he felt. Just trying to get this over with, since he knew what the blonde-haired man would want from him. You know well that you're late. Get here. The voice sounded firm, just like always when Darzai was late or doing something wrong. Darzai laughs slightly into the microphone before answering. Okay, just give me a chance to try out my new suicide method, he says with the most enthusiasm he could manage in the moment, making sure to hang up on the man before he got a chance to reply again. He lays on his bed for a few minutes, trying to get the willpower to get off the floor where his futon was. It took a little bit, but once he finally got out of bed, he made a beeline to the coffee maker, quickly switching it on. Zoning out, while his coffee was being made, he looked over to the calendar, scanning the page, trying to see what day it was when he saw it. June 19th, turned 22. Darzai forgot his own birthday, since it was never something to be celebrated. Everyone either forgetting his birthday, or when someone did know about it, which was only ever Mori, he had extra work to put on him to make him forget about his sorry excuse of a life. Chuya had asked Darzai about his birthday several times throughout their time as partners, but all Chuya ever got was a laugh and maybe if the slug had a brain he could figure it out. Chuya never figured it out, and Darzai never told anyone. He wanted the same to be true for his time at the agency, but he knew he would slip up sometime soon. He was becoming more and more unstable as the days went by. Darzai shakes himself out of his thoughts as the smell of coffee hits his nose and pours himself a shot of black coffee, not having the money to buy milk or coffee creamer since it all went on his bandages and his limited food. He finishes his coffee fast before realizing that he needs to change his bandages again from the night before's activities, the blood and bandages sticking together. Quickly changing his bandages on his arms and chest, he tries not to look at himself as much as he can. He can't stand existing in his own body, let alone looking at it. He quickly puts his clothes on after changing the bandages around his neck, not because it had bled through, but because it had been a few days now since he last changed it, and it was starting to get sweaty around his neck, which was uncomfortable to say the least. He leaves his room soon after, his expression changing from the dull one he always wore at home to a carefree persona he had carefully crafted over the years. Soon he makes it to the office, most of the walk being uneventful and boring. It was a good day for the weather, especially considering it was the start of summer. Not too hot to where he'll sweat through his bandages and clothes, but not too cold where he regretted not having extra layers on. Hello, Darzai sung as he made his way into the office. Kunakita made his way over to him as soon as he heard the brunette's voice, starting to curse him out before he even got a chance to see who was in the office. Darzai turned to Kunakita as well as he could, pulling on the man pulling on his ear, but ended up shoving the man away, his persona cracking for just a second before he realized what he did. My, Kunakita, you must really hate me if you're trying to hurt me. If Darzai was being honest, that was probably the weakest cover-up he'd made in years, but he couldn't take it back now. So, Darzai shrugged his shoulders and hummed as he walked over to his desk. He sat down in his chair, falling back falling back into his old Port Mafia habit of doing extra work on his birthday, humming a tune that came to his head in the moment. He didn't notice it at first, the dead silence of the room as scratches of the pencil as he scratches the pencil against the paper. He actually almost got through the whole page before stopping, trying to make sense of what the paper was asking of him. It was then when he stopped humming and lifted his head to rest it on his hand when he saw his apprentice trying and failing to discreetly look over the divider to see what was going on. "Oh," Darzai says dumbly as he tries to plaster on his normal smirk on his face, but for some reason his body wasn't working with him. "Of all days for my body not to like me," he thinks to himself as he mentally halves at the situation. Hearing footsteps from behind him, he can practically feel his work partners dig into him. "Why are you working?" The brown-haired man almost flinches at the sound of the blonde, but retains himself. He had faced much scarier things, Maury, for example. His smile is shaky as he turns around to look at his co-worker in the eyes, swallowing a large amount of spit in his mouth before speaking. "I was just trying to help for once. Is that so bad?" He poorly stutters as he tries to get out before giving out a strained laugh into the room, uncomfortable with everyone's attention on him. Kunakita gives him a knowing glare before suddenly turning to Rampo. The oldest in the room sighs before he reaches out for his glasses. The room is back to being silent while Rampo puts his glasses on, Darzai wishing he wouldn't know that it was his birthday. Rampo's eyes open, looking at Darzai and silently asking if he could share. Sadly, Rampo didn't give him a chance to answer, answering the silent question Kunakita had made. The second Darzai's brown eyes met Rampo's green ones, he knew that it was over, so he just sighed and flopped into his chair. It's his birthday and he's a bit down. The black-haired man said simply, unaware, but it was most likely uncaring, to what Darzai wanted and just took his glasses off before picking up a new lolly and opening the wrapping. Darzai closed his eyes, not wanting to see the chaos that this would make, but he knew that he would eventually have to face the inevitable, so he reluctantly opens his eyes to see his partner staring down in front of him, standing above him with a frown. In a last-ditch effort, Darzai tries to speak again, but gets cut off by Rampo. He is also having a hard time understanding the math for the problem of the last mission, and what should have been nothing broke the cover that he'd been forming for years at this point. It really shouldn't have been anything big, just Rampo telling the office that he had hidden his birthday, but he was having a really shitty day, and adding last night's reckless actions into it. He felt like he could give a kiss to an oncoming train and would feel better than this. It's a shame, this shame that he was feeling. There were very few times where he could remember feeling shame at all, but this was the one thing that broke him and made his mask break. "This is bullshit," he whispers to himself as he lifts his head up to look at the ceiling, trying anything he could do to not look at his co-workers. There, a sound in the silence. Light footsteps, so not Kunakita. Atsushi? No, it has to be Kyoka. Only a trained assassin is that quiet. Are you okay, Darzai?" A soft female voice lets out, confirming Darzai's suspicions. He simply lets out a nod and spins in his seat, trying to get up and leave the room, but there's a firm hand on his shoulder before he could even take a step away from everyone. "Why didn't you tell us, Darzai?" The sound of his partner's voice, the way it sounded genuine for once and not annoyed, hurt him, but at the same time it made me feel something, just that little bit of hope. You know you can trust us by now, right?" Kunakita's voice cracks at the end of his sentence, making Darzai stiffen. "I'm fine," he lets out, speaking in a much harsher tone than normal, almost back to the ways that made him the demon prodigy. "You'll be fine, just deflect and deal with this all tomorrow," he thinks to himself before shaking his co-worker's hand off his shoulder. Darzai tries to make his way to the door again, but is now stopped by Atsushi. "You're not fine." the young man states with more assertiveness that he probably ever has. A part of him is proud for that, but that he didn't fuck up another child. The brunette sighs and carefully puts his hands in his pockets, trying not to seem weak, trying not to need help. He takes another moment to look up at the ceiling and take a breath for himself, but before he knows it, he's surrounded by his colleagues. He might even dare to call them his friends. "Do you want me to bring you home?" comes Kenji's sweet request, and for a moment he considers it. Dazai lets out a small laugh but nods. "Yeah, I think that would be nice. Thanks, Kenji." Dazai tries to smile at the young boy, and this time it seems like his face is working with him. The blonde teen just smiles at him before running up to him and dragging him out behind him grabbing him and dragging him out the door. "There's one less thing I have to worry about now," he thinks with a small smile on his face as he gets dragged back to the agency dorms by a happy Kenji, talking about how his day has been going. "Hey Dazai," the young boy exclaims his question as they turn the last corner. "I have some ice cream at my place if you want some," he asks happily, as if there was nothing wrong with the world. Maybe I should start thinking like that too. Okay everyone, that was my own one shot. Maybe I should start thinking like that too. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just a quick little thing at the end. I have literally 78 fanfic ideas for Bungo Stray Dogs. I believe 2 of them are MHA crossovers. But what I would like you to do in the comments, if you can and if you want of course, is just comment a random number from 1 to 78 and I'll write the fanfic of that prompt. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this and I'll see you guys later. Sorry for all the stuttering. Take care of yourself. Bye.